How did a single monster manage to rip the king of the gods apart? You've probably heard that Zeus is invincible, the ultimate power in the universe who smites anyone that looks at him wrong. But that is a complete lie. There was one day, one specific, terrifying day, where Zeus didn't just lose, he was butchered. He was stripped of his power, humiliated, and left as a boneless sack of meat in a damp cave. And the craziest part, the creature that did it wasn't even a god. To understand how the king of Olympus ended up paralyzed and screaming, we have to go back to the moment he got too comfortable. See, Zeus had just finished locking up the Titans in Tartarus. He thought the war was over. He thought he'd won. But he forgot one very important rule of Greek mythology. Never make Gaia angry. Gaia is the earth itself, the mother of the Titans, and she was furious that Zeus had imprisoned her children. So she decided to create the ultimate weapon to destroy him. She hooked up with Tartarus, the literal pit of hell, and gave birth to her final child, Typhon. Now, you might be picturing a big guy with muscles, maybe some horns? No. Typhon was a cosmic horror show. Descriptions vary, but the scariest version says he was so tall his head brushed the stars. Instead of human fingers, he had 100 dragon heads sprouting from his hands. His bottom half wasn't legs, it was massive, coiling viper coils. He had wings that blocked out the sun, fire flashing from his eyes, and, this is the worst part, he spoke with the voices of every dangerous beast at once. Bulls, lions, dogs, all screaming together. When Typhon started marching toward Mount Olympus, he wasn't just walking. He was tearing up the earth and boiling the seas just by being there. So, what did the brave, mighty Olympian gods do when they saw this nightmare approaching? Did they stand and fight? Did Ares, the god of war, charge into battle? Absolutely not. They ran. They panicked so hard that they fled to Egypt and literally shapeshifted into animals to hide. Apollo turned into a crow. Artemis became a cat. Dionysus turned into a goat. The so-called masters of the universe were cowering under bushes, hoping the big bad monster wouldn't find them. Only Zeus stood his ground. Well, some myths say Athena stayed too and shamed him into fighting. But eventually, it was just Zeus versus the end of the world. The battle started at a distance, and honestly, Zeus was doing okay. He was blasting Typhon with lightning bolts, scorching those dragon heads. Typhon was throwing entire mountains at Zeus, and Zeus was catching them on his thunderbolts. It was a stalemate. But then, Zeus made a fatal mistake. He got overconfident. He saw Typhon was wounded and reeling, so instead of keeping his distance and spamming lightning attacks, Zeus decided to end it up close. He grabbed his adamantine sickle, the same super-sharp weapon his father Kronos had used to castrate Uranus, and he charged in to finish the job. This is exactly what Typhon wanted. As soon as Zeus got within grappling range, the size difference mattered. Typhon didn't care about the sickle. He wrapped those massive viper coils around the king of gods and squeezed. He wrestled the sickle out of Zeus's hand. And this is the part that usually gets left out of the children's books. Typhon didn't just knock Zeus out. He used the adamantine sickle to slice open Zeus's hands and feet. He reached inside the open wounds and physically ripped out Zeus's sinews, the tendons that connect muscle to bone. Imagine that for a second. The ruler of the cosmos, immortal and undying, having the cords that move his limbs pulled out of his body like string from a hoodie. Typhon left Zeus alive, but completely helpless. He couldn't move his arms. He couldn't walk. He was just a living, breathing torso. Typhon took the sinews, wrapped them in a bearskin rug, and hid them in a cave called the Corycian Cave. He put a dragon named Delphine to guard the jar of sinews and tossed Zeus's paralyzed body in a corner like a discarded toy. At this point, the reign of the Olympians is effectively over. Typhon has won. The other gods are hiding in Egypt as barnyard animals. Zeus is a vegetable. But Typhon made one mistake. He didn't kill the messenger. Hermes, the god of thieves and trickery, decided he was tired of hiding. Along with a goat pan figure named Egypton, Hermes snuck into the cave where Zeus was being held. They didn't fight the dragon guard, they distracted it. Some stories say Hermes played music so beautiful the dragon fell asleep. Others say he panicked the dragon. Either way, they stole the jar of sinews. Now, we have to assume divine biology works differently than ours, because Hermes effectively performed emergency surgery right there on the cave floor. He slid the tendons back into Zeus's wrists and ankles. The moment those sinews reconnected, Zeus's power came rushing back. And he was absolutely livid. He didn't make the same mistake twice. He flew out of that cave, summoned his chariot, and rained down so much lightning that the earth started to melt. He chased Typhon all the way to Sicily. Typhon tried one last desperate move. He ripped up Mount Etna to throw it at Zeus. But Zeus hit the mountain with a thunderbolt mid-air, smashing it down right on top of Typhon's head. The mountain pinned the monster to the earth. Typhon is immortal, so he couldn't die. He's still trapped there today. That's why Mount Etna is a volcano. The lava and smoke are just Typhon's rage and fire breath trying to escape his prison. Zeus reclaimed his throne, and the other gods sheepishly came back from Egypt, pretending they hadn't just spent the weekend as terrified cats and goats. But it forces you to look at the king of Olympus differently, doesn't it? He rules through fear and power, but when something stronger came along, he was literally taken apart piece by piece. So I have to ask you, if you were Hermes, and you had the king of the gods helpless on the floor, would you have put him back together? Or would you have taken the throne for yourself? Tell me in the comments.